Hello everyone and welcome to Bhasi's IAS. Let's take up today's news analysis, that is 30th November 2019. Our first article is with respect to organ donation. The article says that getting organ donations to tick again, addressing the trust gap and inequality that are impacting family consent for organ donation is crucial. So under this particular topic, we'll try to understand why this is in news. Then we'll understand what is organ donation. Then we'll try to get into a law which says Transplantation of Human Organs Act in 1994. What do you mean by undermining altruism or selflessness with regards to organ donation? We'll also try to understand public hospitals' role with respect to this and what are the solutions and what's the way ahead. First, let us understand why this is in news. This is in news because Indian Organ Donation Day is observed by the Government of India on November 30th. So, Indian government celebrates November 30th of every year as Organ Donation Day. Now, let's get into the next part of our discussion. That is basically we are here trying to understand what is the word organ donation means. So, organ donation is a process when a person allows an organ of their own body to be removed or transplanted to another person. So the process of donating organ of the person and transplanting it to other person. This can be done legally either by consent while the donor is alive, with his consent if he is alive, or it is done dead with the consent of the next of kin. Basically, there are 8 organs that can be donated from one person to another. These 8 organs are liver, lungs, heart, kidneys, pancreas and small intestine. So, liver, lungs, heart, kidneys, pancreas and small intestine can be donated from one person to another. And we can also donate tissues. Okay, there is not limited with organ, we can also donate tissues. Your tissues can also improve the quality of life for many ill person. Tissues you can donate are your skin, corneas, bone tissue including tendons and cartilage, heart valves and blood vessels. Now, in this graphical representation, we'll try to understand which organs can be transplanted from one person to another. So, we understood that organ donation or transplantation can be done from one person to another in 2 ways. It can be done either the person is alive or it is done after his death. If alive, with his own consent. And if death, obviously will be done with his kin's consent, immediate kin's consent. Now, from this graphical representation of the picture, we can precisely understand which organs can be transplanted. So, lungs, we can donate a heart, liver, kidneys, pancreas. And it says that one person can donate up to 7 people or can save 7 lives. Okay, we can also donate our tissues. Tissues transplantation is done through cornea, skin, bone and heart valves to help up to 50 people. This picture also shows the location where all these things located in our body. Cornea locates here in the head. Heart here, we know that, heart and lungs together. Liver, pancreas, kidney. Now let us understand what do you mean by Transplantation of Human Organs Act 1994 and what the act stands for. Basically, the act is established with an aim to regulate removal, storage and transplantation of human organs from therapeutic purposes. Okay, this is to prevent commercial dealings in organs, and this act recognizes brain death. So this act aims to regulate removal, storage, transplantation of human organs. This is for the purpose of therapeutic purpose or medical values, and this act is basically established to prevent commercial dealings in the organs, and in this respective act, people or the government have recognized brain death. That is, brain death is a condition for the transplantation of organs. The act also plays some important role in defining certain statements with regards to organ donation. It states that before removal of organ or body organs, a registered medical practitioner should certify that life or brain death function have been ceased, or there is death or brain death, how brainstem function have been stopped. A dead body living in a hospital or prison and not claimed by any of the near relatives within 48 hours from the time of the death of concerned person, the person in charge or any other authorized person who strongly believe that the body will not be claimed can authorize for removal of body organs. So that is second case. Another case is that No hospital or place is authorized to remove the human organs unless appropriate authority like state or central government authorizes and register it. Now let us understand the offences concerned with this act. Transplantation of Human Organs Act 1994 clearly says that this is considered as an offence if and of two reasons are there: any illegal supply of giving or giving commitment or publishing advertisement to supply of human organs. Second thing is that giving human organs on payment by an individual or society, organization or agent. So payment is an offence, considered as an offence. Next is punishment: imprisonment up to 5 to 10 years and fine up to 5 to 20 lakhs. So removal of name of doctors from MCI or state council register of 2 years for first conviction and permanently or subsequent conviction for this is for the doctors. So in our discussion we understood that November 30th is celebrated as the Organ Donation Day by the Indian government. Organ Donation Day is observed with the primary objective of promoting organ donation and transplantation so that a number of persons suffering from organ failure such as kidneys and liver can get a new lease of life using organs gifted by others who have lost their lives such as road accidents or other reasons like brain death. Next point we have to discuss here is regarding undermining altruism. What does that mean? Undermining selflessness. That means if a person is donating or his kids are donating a dead person's body organs or a brain dead person's body organs, there are cases where this selflessness work is undermined by commercially or by the monetary benefits. So we'll talk about that now. While we celebrate November 30th as the Organ Donation Day, it is also need to reflect on certain negative perceptions that appear to be growing and undermining the altruistic donation mindset of donor families. Okay, that means a donor family will be donating an organ with selflessness or not thinking about anything. Of course, they will be in a deep sad state that they have lost the person and they wanted to do some good for society. There are options that a person or the kin doesn't have to give consent also. So with consent, if a person is giving or donating a relative's body parts, means they are doing a selfless or an altruistic work towards society. So this act is undermined sometimes. Example is a classical example of this steep drop scene is there in Kerala. There were 76 deceased donors in 2015 and 2018 there is only a record of 5. This is due to perceived, however, unfolded scandal that private hospitals were declaring persons brain dead when they are not really so. So in order to harvest their organs and profit from them. There is also a lot of movies released in Kerala with respect to this, that if a person, literally the person will not be brain dead, but it is they are declaring for the scandal purpose that private hospitals were declaring persons brain dead when they are actually not really so. So this is in order to harvest their organs and profit them from others. So because of all these things, there is a gap between patients and doctors in their trust. Okay. And doctors trapped in profit-seeking businesses of tertiary sector, seeking second and third opinion on patient treatment is commonplace today. So basically, when a person donates his organs or a kin donated that person's organ, they have done it for free. They don't charge anything. The organ comes free as donated to society. Transplanting it to another person will cost around 5 lakh to 25 lakhs, including profit to the hospital. So hence the unavoidable suspicion that unethical practices may take place as highlighted in a recently published book, Healers or Predators, Healthcare Corruption in India. One more important fact to be noted while this discussion is that when a majority of accident happens, victims who became donors were lower middle class and below. So while majority of organ receivers or the recipients will be from a person who can afford transplant, that means above middle class, where he can afford the transplantation cost of 5 to 25 lakhs, first thing. Second thing is that lifelong that servicing have to be done or medication thereafter. That cost also they are able to bear it. So this is why there is an inequality in accepting organs from others happens across the country. Now let us understand what is the role of public hospitals and why they cannot help. A common solution to this advocated by many is the public hospitals should chip in and help the poor. Very few public hospitals in the country do kidney transplants and less than 5 do liver and heart transplants. So why the public hospitals is not involved much. The main reason is that healthcare remains as abysmal. That is, only 1.2% of the GDP is spent on healthcare. So less than a third of what some developed countries spend. So priority should be then given to what? Spending the limited allocation on areas that would be benefit the greatest number of persons. This is a policy of a welfare state. Anything the government do, it should benefit the greatest or the largest number of population. So if only there is 1.2% of GDP spent for healthcare sector, so public hospitals who can do organ transplantations or that facility will be considered least, because in front of government only this much amount is there. They have to do more welfare activities or actions that benefit a vast number of people. So amount donated or amount removed to do this transplantations cost, everything will be reduced. The article also points out about certain fault lines and solutions for the same. So we'll go ahead and see there are 3-4 solutions mentioned in the summary. So we'll see what are solutions. First thing is that we have to fill the gap between doctors and the patient and also to reduce inequality. So first thing is that moderates are possible in these deep-rooted societal fault lines. One usual approach is to regulate hospitals through acts and rules. So we just discussed about the Transplantation of Human Organs Act 1994. So it is an outdated act. Actually, it is in 1994, almost 25 years over. So there should be new regulations to regulate hospitals through acts and rules. Okay, so it's time to revisit the act's effectiveness. Substitution of bureaucratic procedures for hospitals and transplant approval by self-declaration and mandatory sample verification involving civil society will improve compliance. Second solution noted in this article is that amendment is needed to ensure full state autonomy in this area, avoiding central government's interferences in organ distribution, which is now demotivating many hospitals. So apart from this, other solution is that all state organ distribution agencies have to maintain high transparency. That means their operations should be fully transparent. Steps such as making online organ distribution norms and full details on every organ donation will help public attaining confidence in the system. Another point noted is that private hospitals, we came to understand that public hospitals is very difficult to conduct it free because we don't have fund for that. Once allocation for healthcare sector increase in budget, then we can see about that. So currently what can we do in private sector is that private sector can attempt to give in a very low price or like 3 continuous normal amount surgery, and the fourth one can be done on a free thing. So like that, changes can be done in the private sector. And this process is called cross subsidization. So every third or fourth transplant done in a private hospital should be done free of cost to a public hospital patient. So this is called cross subsidization, with the hospital, the doctor and the recipient footing the bill for free surgery to the section of the population that donates a majority of organs. So let's have a quick recap about our discussion. We were discussing about organ donation. So we have seen why this is in news. We also see what is organ donation, Transplantation of Human Organs Act of 1994. What do you mean by undermining altruism or selflessness? Public hospital role in this, what solution and what's the way forward? Let's get into our next article of discussion. This is regarding environment and ecology or biodiversity conservation. Regarding this, we can understand that this article talks about vulture conservation centers in UP. Gaon Southern played role in selection of site. UP or Uttar Pradesh is set to get this first conservation site for endangered vultures. Very important thing, for endangered vultures center is coming in UP. And Gaon Southern, that is cow conservation center built up by the state government, may have led to the selection of the village site for vulture conservation in eastern UP's districts according to an official. And this vulture conservation center will be known as Jatayu Conservation Center. It will be located in the Gorakhpur Forest Division of UP. Since destitute animals are kept at the Gaon Southern and they die soon due to their age, it is natural for vultures to be spotted there due to availability of the dead animals. That is why this location is selected. So what is our takeaway from this article? We have to make sure that a vulture conservation center is coming up. It is coming up in UP, Uttar Pradesh, and it will be named as Jatayu Conservation Center. It will be located in Gorakhpur. Let's get into our next article of discussion. This is regarding Indian economy or the economic slowdown, what is in the economy now. The article states that GDP growth plunges into 4.5%, lower since 2012. Official says that fundamentals are strong, numbers will pick up. So first let us understand why this is in news. This is in news because growth in the GDP in July-September quarter hit a 25-quarter low of 4.5%. This is the lowest GDP growth in 6 years and 3 months comes as Parliament has been holding long-day discussions on the economic slowdown. But at the same time, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman assured the Rajya Sabha that country is not in recession and may not ever be in one. The article also talks about GVA dips to 4.3%. So first we'll understand what is GVA or gross value added. So GVA or gross value added literally means what is the output minus intermediate consumption. Suppose in a production process whatever is output coming, that amount minus what are the process we indulge in between output and input, we had an intermediate process. There is of course cost or related to monetary things related to intermediate consumption. So when you are deducting this intermediate consumption or the expenditure from the output, we get what is basically what is the value added. So it is a total value of goods and services produced through economic activity in any particular period. This is actually total value of goods and services. That means output minus the intermediate one, how much of our output we got from the manufacturing sector, and suppose the output is 100 units and for the intermediate you almost choose equal to 25. That means 75 is only your gross value added. Value addition is done only for the 75. That is GVA is equal to, also we can say that GDP minus taxes plus subsidies. GDP is at the market prices. That means this we can consider it as intermediate one, only value is produced apart if you deduct from this. Okay, taxes and subsidies not part of the value addition in this program, and GDP is a national concept where GVA is a regional concept. Now let's get back to our point of discussion. We were talking about GVA dips to 4.3%. Growth in gross value added also dipped to 4.3% in the quarter 2 of 1920. That is now, from last year it was 4.9%. According to data released on Friday, manufacturing sector contracted 1% in the second quarter of the current financial year compared with a robust growth of 6.9% in the same quarter of the previous year. So now it is contracted to 1%. Last year in 2018 it was 6.9% growth was there. Manufacturing sector saw an overall contraction of 0.2% in the first half, and it was before last year it was 9.4%. In spite of all data released in the economy, the government is of the stance that fundamentals of Indian economy remain strong and GDP growth is expected to pick up from the third quarter, that is from this month till March, maybe from Jan to March. Okay, and the ministry also highlighted that International Monetary Fund or IMF have projected India's GDP growth at 6.1% this financial year and 7% in the next, in its October 2019 report, that is recent report. There is also decline in the investment in the country, that is gross fixed capital formation also, which is a measure of level of investment in the country by both government and private sector, will have grown only 1.2% in the second quarter compared to last year's 4.4%. Former RBI Governor and Prime Minister of India, Mr. Manmohan Singh, says that this slowdown is unacceptable. Reacting to GDP growth rate of July-September quarter of 4.5% decrease or low, the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh said that it was completely unacceptable figures and pointed to a palpable climate of fear among the people in economy. He is of the opinion that economy hit by climate of fear warns of disastrous effect of a sharp slowdown in growth. So he was reacting to this report, that is GDP growth rate of July-September quarter at 4.5%, a 6-year low. And he said this is completely unacceptable and pointed to a palpable climate of fear. He also opined that this is clearly unacceptable and aspirations of our people want that this country should grow at 8 to 9% per annum. Therefore, the sharp decline in growth rate from 5% in the first quarter to 4.5% second quarter is worrisome. While in the discussion of economic slowdown, the former Prime Minister also provided a critique to the existing policies of the government, saying that many industrialists tell him that they live in fear of harassment by government authorities. Bankers are reluctant to give new loans for fear of retribution. Entrepreneurs are hesitant to put up fresh projects for fear of failure attributed to ulterior motives. And he also criticized, saying that alluding to government's efforts to discern data on unemployment, household consumer expenditure and sanitation. He said that shooting down messengers of bad news or shutting off economic reports and data is juvenile and does not belong a rising global economic powerhouse.